Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And Brandon was on assignment last week, and he also had a traumatic movie experience, right?
Yes, but you make it sound like I went to the movies and something bad happened to me.
No, but it's I mean, hey, if you feel anything watching a Marvel movie these days, I call that a triumph, right?
That is true. That is true.
Okay. You went and saw Thunderbolts.
I did. I went and saw Thunderbolts. And honestly, if you've got any kind of abandonment issues or PTSD or, imposter syndrome or anything like that, you definitely need to wait until it's on Disney Plus so that you have a support staff around you to give you big hugs.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to find out about that because I had no interest in watching this movie, but you've got me intrigued. I'll probably watch it on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah. I luckily, I was cleaning out my wallet and I came across a Fandango card. And Amy had already told me how much she enjoyed Thunderbolts. She went and saw it during the last weekend of the summer drive-in. And so I was like, you know what? I got a couple hours to spare. Let me go check it out. And yeah, they tried to make me cry, Joe.
Okay, cool. All right, perfect. So, and then I can't believe it. I'm looking at Allan, and I can't believe I'm bringing this topic up, but my wife and I are beginning to get hooked on cooking shows, but these are very specific ones, Allan. These are National Geographic cooking shows. They're different they are different. I don't know if you guys have
Are you
seen
watching
them.
Tucci in Italy?
We already watched that.
Dude, that was, yeah.
We're watching all these things, and because it's a cooking show that's really about more than even that. It's very encompassing.
It is about people.
The culture and everything that goes along with it, because
food reflects culture.
But the production is what we like. It's so relaxing to watch, and you always learn something watching it. And I'm like, okay, I can get behind something like this. So we're gonna talk about that. But before we do any of that, it's necessary to talk business a little bit.
Yeah,
Brandon. So we have a Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention update, and there's really no way to sugarcoat this. We're scheduled for November 15th and 16th at the Holiday Inn. It'll be our third year in a row at the University of Memphis Holiday Inn. It's a venue we really like.
It would have been.
Yeah, it would have been. So we got notice, and it's through no fault of the staff there. We love the staff. We love Deidre.
Why do I smell tires squealing?
Well, apparently the word came down from corporate that they're going to remodel the hotel, which, in fairness, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's kind of due for a remodel, unfortunately.
Those of you who have joined us there know that it's like... It's just two steps above looking like the back rooms of The Shining. It's
it's a comfortable venue.
It's very dark. It's very 70s, and it's comfortable, but it's sometimes too cozy.
So we're excited about the remodel. Unfortunately, it takes place right in the thick of things when our convention's going on. Yeah. So we're moving locations, and we are in the works. We're talking to people, and it's funny, Brandon, because it's funny how many, people might go, man, you guys must be panicked. You must be freaking out. It's like, no, after 15 years, this is just another thing. We've dealt with stuff like this before.
We've come to realize if there's not some catastrophic emergency in the middle of prepping for the con, then it's not an MCFC.
Right. Well, it's funny because as we can't discuss it yet, but as this thing unfolds, it's possible we might wind up actually in a better position than we were before.
Right.
And even in a more interesting venue but we're working on it, folks. So we'll keep you posted.
As soon as we have names on dotted lines, we will make our announcement.
Yeah, so stay tuned because I know people have been sending me messages like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" I went into the comic book store the other day, and they were all looking at me like my mother just died or something. I'm like, it's not that big a deal, folks.
Be nice to Joe. He's homeless now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because it's like, I was at Mid-South MegaCon last week, or as it's now being referred to as Mid-South Really Big Con.
Not a great name.
We got to get information from Austin, who was on with us a couple of weeks ago, and see what's going on there, because that in and of itself seems very interesting. But while we were there, I was getting more people coming up and asking me, well, where are y'all going to go? What are y'all going to do? And everything. And I'm like, I gave them the line that we had because, at the time we didn't have enough information to say, well, we're definitely not going to be there.
Yeah.
We've got that info now, but everybody was concerned. So that in and of itself was a little bit of a boost because it shows that the community cares.
Right. Yeah. And I think the one thing I will say, and I'm just being honest, because we are getting we're getting a lot of events here in town. I mean, let's just be honest. But there's always been a unique tone, and it's funny because I had more than one person. I had Josh Mason. I had several vendors, and I think they're being sincere. They said that the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention is their favorite convention that they do in town. And I guess there's probably reasons why that is, but
well, I mean, we've always tried to make sure that we have a positive relationship with any of our vendors, all of our artists, and everything. And I don't know how many times I hear from it. It's like, this was my first, MCFC was my first con. It's what got me into this. The first time I ever sold my art was at an MCFC. It's like, I mean, it kind of makes you feel good about it, but it also makes you realize we got to get on the ball and make sure we're somewhere home and safe.
We will. And the thing is, too, because there's a lot of venues. If you don't know anything about conventions, you should know back in the day when we started in 2010, there was Mid-South Con and Shadow Con, and that was it.
Yep.
And we were the third one to come along, and so now there's
we
so
knew
many.
that Anime Blues was on the horizon.
Right. They started a year after us, but they started preparing a year ahead of us,
right?
Which is probably a smart move. But,
yeah.
But hey, I said, I don't panic in these situations.
No.
Too often, what happens is you get thrown something like this, and it forces you. What did they say? Problems are just opportunities in disguise. Yeah. So we're working on it, folks. So trust us.
But, trust us.
I'm actually excited about the prospect because sometimes when you're forced into something, it's like when they burn the boats at Cortez or something. Like you're forced to adapt and to succeed.
Yes.
So we'll do that. But anyway, well, hey,
and if not, we will take you all down with us.
Well, Brandon, this is going to be interesting. When we come back, we're going to find out about your movie experience because apparently a Marvel movie actually made you feel something. Yes. And we'll talk about that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Even a pair of vibranium diapers couldn't hold back the produced on this show. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we gave you a Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention update. And we're going to learn about, Brandon, you went and saw Thunderbolts. And actually,
I went and saw Thunderbolts.
It made you feel things.
Yes. Again, I'm not going to get into story details too badly because of the fact that it's you've all seen it or you don't care enough to see it. And I don't want to give anything away from Joe because once he watches it on Disney Plus, it's going to be fun.
Okay.
But it is, it's traumatic if you've got, it's like it really wants to pull at the feels. So, of course, you get, it starts off with Yelena basically telling you it's like, something's broken, something's wrong with her. And then she's stepping off of a building.
Scarlett Johansson, what is that, sister? I mean, what's, why am I forgetting? Oh, Black Widow. What is her? Oh, it's Yelena.
Yelena.
Oh,
what
okay.
I just said.
Sorry, I was just thinking of something.
What
was the order they were a part of? Is it just the Black Widows? What was the secret training thing?
They were trained in the Red Room.
The Red Room. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I forgot the name.
They were the.
There was some underground group they were a part of. And they were assassins.
They were the Widows along with Taskmaster, and they were trained in the Red Room from a young age,
right,
to be unsuspecting assassins.
Okay, all right.
That was kind of fun. I just watched Joe actually do the human version of a record skipping.
It is. It's like,
it was just,
okay.
And
so that's really a good way to explain, because as you're going through things, that's kind of how you feel. Like I mean, first of all, Bucky's a congressman.
Yeah, how does that happen, man?
He's a former Avenger. He's considered a hero.
Do you listen to talk radio?
Well, I was just going to say, but I mean, I love Bucky and I love the Winter Soldier, but the guy, you would think his past would eliminate him from doing public service. I mean, he's
We're
got
not gonna
psychological trauma.
We're
He's
not
been
going to get political,
brainwashed.
but I'm thinking this is
can't say
very
another
meta.
word.
I'm
This is
just
very
saying,
meta.
right? I mean,
Right.
okay.
And of course, Bucky's suffering from imposter syndrome. It's like he wants to be a hero, but he's like, I got to go. I got to do it this different way now. It's like he knows he doesn't belong there. And then, of course, you've got you've got Val, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. I can't speak today, but she's
the ringleader.
She's the bad guy.
Right.
She's the one behind trying to put everything together. She's the one who's got all these Black Ops characters doing horrible things. Like, she paid Yelena to go blow up a building, or technically a lab.
I just, every time she's on screen, though, I expect somebody to panically come running through a door behind her and say something bizarre.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Then you won't be disappointed in this movie.
Awesome.
She's charismatic.
She has an assistant named Mel who is
Really?
She is, yes, and she is very
Kramer-esque.
torn.
Torn. Okay, torn's good.
She is ethically torn. She wants to do well in her position, but at the same time, she's like, they found a guy in a box in your storage facility. I mean, that's Bob. That's Bob. And Bob
Cool.
also has psychological issues. Bob's also the Sentry. He was the one they were trying to create the ultimate Earth's mightiest hero. They've done all sorts of experimenting on him to give him amazing powers. The problem is Bob's got a dark side, and that became the Void. You've seen the trailers where it's just this shadowy character up in the sky, and he's kind of like got his hand out, and you're watching people just turn into smears on the ground.
Oh,
he's sending them into another world.
I wondered about that. So he's the bad guy.
Well, no, that's the thing is he's not actually the bad guy. Val's the bad guy. But
is this like the Suicide Squad for Marvel, basically?
Well, it all starts off with her sending all of her Black Ops characters to the same individual space with the intentions of killing off one another. She's taking care of her problem because she's under investigation by the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense and pretty much any investigative department within the government. Because they don't trust her, they don't like her, and she's got all these artifact type thingies from all the different, Black Ops superhero Weapon X type situations.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so she has all of her stuff boxed up and taken to a specific place. She sends Yelena and John Walker, the U.S. agent, and Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Taskmaster to this place where they are basically going to kill one another,
like the Hunger Games,
right? And only they don't know that they don't know that the others are going to be there. They just know who their target is. And of course, Bob's there in the midst of it because he was in a crate. And this is all within the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. And of course, they get into a fight. Taskmaster gets taken out completely. Ghost kills her.
Who's Taskmaster? I can't remember.
Did you watch Black Widow?
Yeah, but I don't.
Taskmaster was she was the broken widow that had been uploaded with technology so that she could, rather than have Taskmaster as he was, where he just could mimic your moves, which was a mutant power, and they weren't allowed to have mutant powers yet. They made it technology based, and she was a former widow.
All right, and they
and now she's definitely a former widow because they capped her.
Okay, all right. So it was like a gender swap thing, too.
Right. So of course, a lot of the incels out there in the world hated that. It didn't really change the character enough to matter to me. It was a throwaway character, but of course, eventually they have to go on the run. They get saved by Red Guardian, who is probably one of the greatest Marvel characters ever, just because of how goofy he is.
You think so?
He's so much fun.
Okay.
I know he gets annoying in Black Widow, but he's great in small doses.
I want the guy to shave and just clean up his act a little bit.
No.
He just that beard, that is not a good look at all, man. A big beard.
That's the
hanging out.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to relive his glory days, but he never will.
It's funny. Okay. All right.
He's like a Cubs player.
Hey. Okay, but you're saying actually this movie had a lot of heart.
It has a lot of heart in it, and I watched from Iron Man 1 to the Endgame. Didn't have as much heart as this movie did.
Okay,
all the way across the board.
We'll find out more when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
It's treason, then.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
I keep saying we're not going to get political.
Man, I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, Brandon was telling us about Thunderbolts, the latest Marvel offering that you went and saw. Yeah. I'll probably watch it, and it's basically, when I looked at it, I thought it was the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad, where you have a bunch of anti-heroes or full-out villains. I mean, some of them are, and but they're called together to do something good. Is that right?
No. Bucky basically makes them do something good.
Oh,
but again,
okay.
I'm not going to get into the plot points on that. But yeah, there's a whole deal where he's got them tied up, and they're trying to explain to him they're not the people he should be taking into this. And honestly, if you were going based on their own physicalities, you've got 3 super soldiers and someone using PIM technology, and a Black Widow. You got a good team if it's going to be Marvel Knights-esque street fighting.
Okay, but well, I guess you're not giving us too many spoilers. But what's so emotional about? You said they actually pulled at the heartstrings a little, which.
They have to confront what's broken inside of them. I mean, Yelena, and the fact that she's still she's grieving her sister. She's never really gotten a chance to get over that. She's lost her twice now. The whole the fact that she doesn't have a real family.
Yeah.
As much as she rejects them, she wishes she had them. She doesn't do anything but she goes to work. She goes home. She drinks. She has nothing. She has to come to terms with the fact that. It's very much these people realizing that they are enough. They are what the world needs. John Walker's wife and kid left him because he couldn't get over the fact that he failed as Captain America. And
how is he not in prison though? He cut that guy's head off with his Captain America shield.
He killed a terrorist. The U.S. will come up with a way to keep him out of prison.
Okay, he did other things too. Though
he literally got off through the government investigation at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I don't remember that show.
No, of course
I
you don't.
watched it once, and
there was a lot of exposition. I don't remember it.
There was talking.
I just remember him.
I don't remember what happened with Captain Underpants.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so
I have a feeling in Joe's head when you see somebody take a really deep breath in a movie. He immediately becomes Charlie Brown listening to the teacher.
Sometimes, well, it's kind of like that in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier when Sam's giving his big speech at the end. I was like, Sam said something really good, and I'm like, okay, great way to end the scene. That was a great thing. Then he keeps talking. Then he keeps talking more. Then he keeps talking. I'm like, you just buried the. I already forgot what your good point was.
You really did just hit on what is probably one of the biggest downfalls of the MCU in general, be it TV show, movie, what if cartoon, whatever. It's that point where they make that exclamation mic drop point, and then they keep talking.
Right. It totally. Yeah,
that's what the Loki show was. Is just talking.
Oh my gosh, that show was awful. So yeah,
show was amazing.
The same. You could have made that if that show was half as long, it would have been great. But we don't need them taking a 1 hour train ride.
I felt that way
about
the Batman.
Whole way. Don't give me that. You're just
I'm serious. It's like there's parts of the Batman that are very just. Yes, Batman is a tortured soul, blah, blah, blah. I don't need him to be an emo teenager. I'm waiting for him to put Simple Plan on.
Okay, whatever. But so you think Thunderbolts, does it work on any other level besides being the emotion? I mean, is it?
It's also not entirely too long. It's got a shorter runtime than most Marvel films, so you never feel like anybody's overstaying their welcome. You genuinely care about these characters. Well, you kind of cared about these characters to begin with, so it wasn't hard to get on board with what they were trying to tell you about these characters. And I just loved the entire depiction of the Century because it felt like it was lifted out of the comics.
Oh, well,
and then of course, one of the things that Alexi wants more than anything is recognition for what he has done. He always wanted to be on the Wheaties box, and he gets to be after they save the world.
So, would you say this is all? Here's my other criteria. I'm sick of the multiverse. I couldn't care less about it, and I'm tired of movies where the entire universe is going to end if the heroes don't win. Is this more of a? Are the stakes a little smaller?
Oh
here?
no. The stakes are very high because if the void is left untethered, the entire world is going to be sucked into this non-existence. But the thing is that you never feel that way.
Oh.
At no point do you feel bleak for what's going to happen. Even though some of this stuff is really bad, because like when Yelena first goes into the void, the room that she's in, she is reliving a trauma that she had where her and another little girl are training in the woods in the snow, and the other little girl gets killed.
Okay.
And when she tries to stop it, the little girl who gets killed in the vision kicks her butt.
Oh.
Because it's like, you can't fix this. This is not something that you can change. This is something you need to learn to accept as a part of who you become and move forward. It's a lot of that. And, you think about how stagnant Marvel has been in the past 2 phases.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you've been stagnant. But I mean, I'll go ahead and give you the one spoiler I will give you is the Stinger reel. The Stinger reel touches on the multiverse, and that's because there's a space thing going on. Their team, though they're the official government team, are not being told anything. Sam has started his own team. Him and Bucky aren't talking, and they have their little computer tap in to figure out what's going on, and you see the Fantastic Four's rocket.
Okay, all right. Well, of course they're going to do a commercial for the Fantastic Four.
Well, it's for Doomsday.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I mean, I'll check it out for sure. At least you've given us some reasons to watch it.
And you'll like Bob.
Yeah, you keep talking about Bob. So, okay. All right. So Thunderbolts coming up. I'm sure it'll be out in another month or so, right? And
probably. Disney and you might want to go ahead now that it's streaming. Watch Brave New World since it's on Disney Plus now. I cannot talk today.
Okay, speaking of Disney Plus, when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the National Geographic cooking shows.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Honestly, I hate working here. They are so weird.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we were learning about Thunderbolts from Brandon, who actually said there's some pretty good heart. It's got a little bit of heart to it.
It's got a lot of heart.
Got a lot of heart. We gave you some updates on the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. And please stay tuned because there's going to be more updates, hopefully by next week or at least in the weeks ahead. But shifting gears today, right now we're going to talk about some of the National Geographic cooking shows, and I make the distinction because basically what happened, you guys, we watched Andor. My wife loved it. She was, riveted. We watched season 2, and then it was over, and we're like, well, now what do we do? And this, at the top of the menu, this show popped up called Tucci. In what is it? Tucci in Italy.
Tucci in Italy.
So Stanley Tucci going. It's like 8 episodes, and he goes to different parts of Italy.
One of your favorite bald-headed villains of all time.
Yeah, good actor. He's been around a long time. Guy looks pretty good for his age too. He looks pretty, But anyway, I watch, and for one thing, it's got really good pacing. But it's basically him going to these different regions, and it's not just like, here's how you cook lasagna, here's how you whatever. Like each region maybe is known for a certain dish. Mm-hmm. You learn the history of this region. You meet people from the region. It's like a travel show.
It is a travel show.
As a cooking show, and the food looks great. But it's really, you learn a lot, but the production is really enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Like this has become our new comfort food because now we're working our way through all these other National Geographic cooking shows, and they really tap into something nice. You learn. You actually
You
learn
made it
stuff.
to Gordon Ramsay yet?
Not yet. Is he? Now, I don't know. I thought he's like the guy that screams at everybody.
All right, so he has those shows.
And don't spoil it because I'm going to watch those.
I was going to say he
Okay.
has those shows.
Yeah.
Like
This is not Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's
This is
Kitchen
not
and
Hell's
Kitchen
Kitchen.
Nightmares.
This is everybody getting even with him.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, that means, all right, we'll pick on the Afghanistan episode, shall we, Brandon?
Don't
No.
give me spoilers.
No, we're not gonna talk about any specific episodes.
Okay.
But it is him going to different places and them showing him that he knows nothing about cooking.
He shows up and he meets a senior chef or a chef of his acquaintance, and they give him homework for the week.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the week,
they're going to
me
test
and you are going to go head to head in a cook-off. You have 1 week to figure out what in the heck we actually do with our food.
Okay.
And every episode is, again, well-paced. And let's face it, we do enjoy watching people do fairly horrible things to Gordon Ramsay.
Well,
It's
that's
Because he has
payback.
to go get
Well,
he has to go get the food at the source.
He's got to keep his karmic balance up. So yeah.
And then, of course, he gets to take on the end balance. And some of these chefs are fanning that Gordon has on the show with them. Others are reminding him that they had an opportunity to hire them once upon a time, and they still have a grudge.
Yeah.
And others do things like, oh, by the way, we'll be feeding the prime minister.
Right. Oh,
And,
there you go.
so,
Yeah.
so there's a twist to every one of them, but the show is actually quite a gentle presentation of where food comes from and why it's a part of your culture.
Well, that's what I found interesting, because one of the things you learn in these shows, and some of these dishes are hundreds of years old, maybe older, and
Maybe
it's like-
thousands, yes.
And it's interesting because you're like, okay, you get the backstory. It's like, well, this person, this town is up on a mountain, and there's very few herbs, and there's very few this, and they can't get to beef, and so this is why they developed this dish, and it's always like really creative, and it's always out of necessity.
And this is why the rabbit here is served so well.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's
food
great, man.
food is culture. Food is family, which is a big part of Tucci's show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, Joe, is like these shows that you're watching now are like the cooking shows of old. You know, nowadays it's like we're gonna compete on this. But if you ever watch things like Cooking with Quan or Lydia's Kitchen or something like that,
Justin Wilson,
it's all about story. It's all about how things came to be. And while yes, back then it was like Lydia, it was like, let's see how quickly it takes before she gets drunk while she's cooking. Because
that was Graham.
No, I'm talking no. Lydia would get pretty.
I know.
When she what did she say? When the ravioli starts to get crooked, you know that you've had enough wine.
Yes.
Then you pour yourself another glass.
Well, the thing that's great about these cooking shows too that I'm realizing is, okay, if there's anything that unites every single human being in the world is that we all have to eat.
Yes.
And so, okay, that's a topic we can all
And
at
life
least
is
understand.
too short for crummy food.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome to the point of my cooking shows.
Yeah. Well, and also you said something too. Like, I can't stand that show Chopped. It's all manufactured drama, and I don't think it's a true test of cooking ability, because maybe you're a good cook, but you can't whip something up in 20 minutes. That doesn't mean you're not a good cook. And it's not relaxing to watch. Like, and I don't learn anything on those shows.
That's American competition TV. That is not the rest of the world.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, if you notice, British competition, baking shows and everything, they're not manufactured drama. They're just like, this is how we do things, and we blanch the flour and we do this, and that's
And they're good sports too. They help
and
each
if they
other,
didn't win this week, they're okay with it.
Right.
You don't have anybody going.
Did you see what won? Oh my goodness, it was an amazing thing.
Yeah, but if you want something relaxing to watch, folks, and where you like to learn, I haven't been disappointed yet. We've gone through 3 different series, and we're enjoying it.
Who's streaming Cooking in Morocco? I don't know who's streaming that yet, but Joe, if you get it, when I find it, I'll figure it out when I get home.
I
But
went blank the minute you asked
Cooking
me.
in Morocco is
cooking in
so
Morocco.
good.
Yeah. Well, these are great, and it's nice when you can learn stuff. When you can learn something
One of
too,
my
but it
favorite-
makes you really hungry watching these.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes with Tucci is, of course, they're in the restaurant and they get him and is showing him the real secret behind what he did, and then tells him in Italian,
Right.
"This is a secret." And Tucci goes, "Yeah, it was. We're on TV now, dude."
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, we got to get out of here. The show's over. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
And I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmsted, taking bets on how long before Joe buys a Blackstone griddle.
Ooh. Now, what is that? That's interesting.